Okay, everyone, The Walking Dead's 9th season released a trailer at Comic-Con today, and this thing is a beast. It's 5 minutes and 44 seconds of footage from the first half of Season 9, which will premiere on October 7th. Now, before I run through this footage and break down the details that you may have missed, just to remind you guys, it has been confirmed that Rick, Andrew Lincoln, and Maggie, Lauren Cohan, will exit the show in this first half of the season. So a lot of what we're going to be looking at is ways for the show to kind of wind down what their characters' arcs are, and we started to see a bit of that in this footage, so let's dive into it. Okay, the trailer opens with Rick and Negan chatting in the prison cell. Now, the comics feature a huge time jump right after the all-out war storyline against Negan, after that ends up, and so the show, Season 9, seems to be doing that as well. It shows Rick with his big bushy beard, and he has his short hair that reflects exactly what his character looks like at this point in the comics, and in the first issue back, it does end with Rick walking down into the prison cell and talking with Negan, so they do kind of have these like long chats about the nature of humanity, and is Rick's philosophy really right? Is it justified? And it is some of the more interesting panels from these issues of the comics, so I'm glad the show is working this in. We also see Maggie at the Hilltop. Now, she now has her baby, finally, after like 18 months of pregnancy, but the Hilltop has constructed lots of medieval technology. If you look in the background, a lot of like wood-based instruments. There's also a windmill that you can see. Now, she was actually given the blueprints for a lot of this technology, including this windmill, from Georgie last season. And if you look closely at this windmill, you can see what looks like the word Commonwealth. Now, that could be just like a street sign, but of course, the Commonwealth is a new location from the comics. And a lot of us believe that Georgie was from the Commonwealth, that she could have been the show's version of Pamela, who leads the Commonwealth in comics. It's a really advanced community. It's very militarized. They have like kind of stormtrooper-like guards, and they have like an amphitheater, and they're a very advanced community. So we're thinking that Pamela could be Georgie on the show, and that's where she's from. More on that in a second. There is also a shot of the gang exploring an interior location with white columns and a big staircase, which looks a lot like a place from the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., or maybe some government building there. In the background is a crumbling facade of the U.S. Capitol building when they're outside. So my guess is the survivors are scavenging this horse carriage from a D.C. museum, maybe the Museum of National History. There's also a shot of a camp that all the survivors kind of live in with a signpost, and the different signs show HQ, Oceanside, Alexandria, Sanctuary, and Toledo. I'm guessing Toledo's just a joke since, it's pretty far west from where they are. But the interesting thing to me here is what community is missing, right? The Hilltop is missing. So my assumption is that HQ refers to the Hilltop. The Hilltop being considered the HQ, the center of operations, basically suggests that it's replaced Alexandria as the main base of all these characters, which could be some source of tension between Rick and Maggie. Remember, there was a scene at the end of last season where Maggie seemed to be conspiring against Rick, and they're kind of laying some groundwork for potential conflict in the future that some of us had some mixed feelings about. And if you watch in this trailer, there is a lot of shots where there's some intergroup rivalry and restlessness and people having trouble forgiving each other, but more on that in a bit. There's also a very interesting shot that shows someone's boots staggering on the ground as whoever is walking in these is bleeding out. Now, considering Rick only has 6 episodes left, we could be looking at him here, but we'll see more of that as we get into the season. There's also a quick shot of Jadis on the radio with the helicopter behind her. Now, remember, we saw her character trying to summon a helicopter last season, and this one has the same exact symbol on the side of it. I speculated that this helicopter could be from the Commonwealth, the one advanced society that we know who exists in this area, who has lots of different technology, and they've scavenged a lot, and they've done very well for themselves. She could have some kind of connection with Georgie, but I assume this is the same helicopter, and she's trying to connect with them again, so it's looking like Season 9 will go more into that arc. And one of the more intriguing details from this trailer is a series of graffiti words tagged on the walls like "Saviors Save Us" and "Final Warning." Now, "Saviors Save Us" probably refer to more of that unsettled rivalry between the groups. Maybe that some of the different groups don't trust Rick's leadership and want to go back to the way things were under Negan. But Final Warning is interesting. It looks like that could be from a group called the Whisperers. Now, that's a new enemy group from the comics that we have been on the lookout for. I feel like back in season 5, people were looking in the bushes and be like, I saw a Whisperer, I saw a Whisperer. But yeah, they're a group who has a very like tribal mindset, and they do issue a very, very serious warnings to Rick's people in a way that I don't want to spoil. But yeah, they're very like, this is our side, that's your side, don't come near us. So Final Warning seems like it could be from them. But we also see a bunch of the new characters into this season, including Magna. Now, in the comics, Magna is the leader of a small group from Richmond who first shows up right after the all-out war ends. She is on the cover of the A New Beginning arc of the comics. And she's joined by Dan Fogler from the Fantastic Beasts movies. He plays a character in this group as well. But the craziest detail, guys, hold on to your butts. It comes in the final few seconds when Rosita and Eugene are hiding and they're trembling in fear. They're covering themselves in mud as a group of walkers pass by them. But guys, these are not walkers. These actually are whisperers. And this is the craziest detail. It took me forever to actually hear this, but I had to listen to it over and over again. If you listen precisely at 5 minutes and 15 seconds, very, very closely, turn up the volume on your headphones, you can hear one of them rasp very slowly, "Where are they?" It's very, very chilling, and it's one of the creepier moments from the comics as well. If you read the comics, they think that they hear walkers talking to each other, but that's how we find out that the Whisperers exist. And as I mentioned, they're basically just a tribe of weirdos who skin walkers, and they wear the walkers' skins to disguise themselves, and they whisper to each other to try to like blend in, and that's how they protect themselves, and that's how they attack other people. And when the Whisperers arrive on the scene, they are a huge, huge, huge game changer. So it's one of the things I'm very, very excited to see in season 9. Overall, I think this trailer was really well edited. It's really exciting. It got me legitimately pumped for season 9. The camera work and the horror imagery seems like a big step up from past seasons. Angela Kang seems like she is the right person for the job to lead this show, at least based off of this trailer. And for sure, the Whisperers joining the fray is definitely something we can all look forward to. It's a really, really fun arc in the comics. Now, I just have to admit that the heavy focus on inter-community conflicts just worries me. Like, the past seasons have, I think, spent too much time in creating and manufacturing these conflicts between characters who shouldn't be fighting. And season 8's finale included that super unnecessary scene with Maggie conspiring against Rick with Jesus. It just seemed completely out of character for all of them. I agree that in writing, conflict is important. You have to have characters who like disagree with each other. Otherwise, there's like no drama and there's no point to watching the scene. I just don't know if we need more and more episodes, like entire episodes with manufactured hissy fits, right? They aren't real drama between groups who have overwhelmingly mutual interests. Like, I get a conflict between the Saviors and others, and I get the conflict between Rick and potentially the Whisperers and between the Walkers, but like, just have characters who are essentially on the same side randomly pick a fight with each other just to fill 44 minutes of runtime is one of the bigger problems that they've had on The Walking Dead in the past few years. So it looks like, just based off of this 5 minutes of footage, that they're going to be doing more of that. So it doesn't make me totally look forward to season 9, especially when 2 of the main characters are moving on. I don't really know what the direction is going forward yet. But comment down below with your thoughts on this trailer. I don't want to hate on it too much because I really did like this trailer, and it did give me more hope for season 9 than I thought I would have at this point. So let me know what you're most looking forward to about season 9. What other details did you see that got you excited? There was all kinds of really interesting things. I'd like to see the new deaf characters on the show, and how Gabriel seems to be blind in one eye. Just a lot of new interesting character details. And of course, subscribe to New Rockstars for all of our breakdowns on the stuff that you love. Thanks, everybody.